Hello, it's Denise, and I am back today to do a video for my December favorites. And these are just decks and crystals and books that I have been really liking this month. Some I just started working with, some I've been working with off and on throughout the month. So this is just kind of a sample of what I've been doing. But one thing that I've started this month and that's going to carry over into January is I pulled out my old copy of Psychic Tarot by Nancy Antonucci with Melanie Howard. And I've had this book for a really long time. Years. I don't know how many years, but years. And I have gone through it before, but it has been years. And so I'm going back through it. And one thing that she encourages you in this book is to pick one deck to work with. And the deck that I've decided to use with this book for the month of January is the Navigator's Tarot of the Mystic Sea. But I've kind of already started, so I've got a head start on it because I thought I would work with it in December, but because of, holidays and all that stuff that comes up, I didn't get a chance to get as far into it as I'd like. So I've kind of assigned this to be my January study book. But it's really interesting. I feel like it's helpful for connecting with your deck, and it's helpful for, it's very like getting into your deck and intuitively reading and not so much relying on memorization, which is how I read the tarot for years and years and years. Let me just kind of see. And I don't really remember all the exercises, so I'm really interested to keep going through it. So far, she talks about the three families in tarot, which is the minor arcana, the court cards, and then the majors. And kind of you go through your cards, looking at those and kind of doing readings where you're pulling meanings that relate to you personally through intuitively just looking at the images. So it can be used with any deck, mostly ones that are illustrated, so none that just have like pip cards. But I am using one of these decks I've been using a lot this month is the Navigator's Tarot of the Mystic Sea, and I have been really into this deck. And one of the exercises that she does in this book is called, I'm trying to think what it was called, the Essence Spread. And oh boy, did that take a while to do. It was a long exercise, but it really goes into the different suits. And you basically kind of look through you shuffle your cards and you pull one for each suit, and then you have a list of questions, that you ask yourself. And then you journal the answers. And yeah, that was a really insightful exercise, I feel like. And so that's just the beginning of working with this book. And since it's been such a long time, it's kind of like reading it again. I just remember like the basic ideas from the book, and I don't remember the actual exercises, so it's kind of fun to explore it again. But one of the decks I've been working with a lot this month, like I said, was Navigator's Tarot of the Mystic Sea. And I've just been really enjoying this deck. And I think one of the reasons that I have been enjoying this particular deck so much is I have the series of fiction books that go with it. It was written by the creator of the deck, Julia A. Turk. And it's like this really wild, crazy, I think I've said this before in another video, it's like reading somebody's really long dream sequence. Like things just kind of work out, you don't have to have a lot of explanation for why things are there. They're there. It's weird and surreal, but it's pulling me into the story, especially because I'm working with the cards. I guess I'm about halfway through, and still working on it, but it's been really an interesting book. And this is just the first book. It's a trilogy. So I have a long way to go with that. But I know that I'm going to be working with this deck for a really long time. So I'm just taking my time and going through and kind of enjoying what I learned. But basically in the book, the first book, Riverlog, it takes you through all the minor arcana. And I mean, it starts with the tens, and I think it'll go all the way down through the aces. And then the second book takes you through the court cards, and the last book takes you through the majors. And you kind of, this is a very hard book to explain to somebody. But for example, so this chapter is Nine of Swords, and then it gives a position because this is a navigator. This means nothing to me. This might mean something to somebody else, but it's like their geographical, GPS data right there. Because the whole time this character is a navigator of a boat and is carrying around this GPS and navigating a river basically, and finding cards. So the main character from the book will find a card from the Navigator's Tarot of the Mystic Sea and describe like what it looks like, and then activate the card, which unfolds into this scene before the person, and kind of interacts with the cards and helps them, talks to them, gives them advice, learns things, and then, takes that knowledge forward, moving forward. So it's just a really wild story. But knowing like that little background of the characters and the cards has made this a million times more interesting to work with this deck. So this has been really fun to work with, both intuitively and with the fiction books. And I know in the book Psychic Tarot, the author has said, don't, put away all your books of tarot meanings. And while I don't intend to do that for all my decks, and I'm not reading the guidebook that goes with the Navigator's Tarot, I feel like the fiction book is a different story. So I'm still reading that. I'm just adapting it to my own. I'm studying it my own way. I'm not maybe doing it exactly by the book, but it's been really enjoyable. So that's something that I've been really enjoying in the month of December. Something new for me that I just recently ordered was the Everyday Enchantment Tarot. Kind of a byproduct of deciding to do a depth year in 2019 is that I kind of got like the whole, I'm going to stop buying decks for a long time. Not completely, but I'm not going to buy a lot of decks. And so if there was a couple that I wanted to work with in 2019 that I didn't have, and I kind of bought a few decks, it wasn't really the point of the depth year, but anyway. I'm glad that I got this deck. This is the Everyday Enchantment Tarot by Poppy Palin, published by Schiffer. And I had this one, I was thinking about this one for a while, and I finally bought it because of my depth year. That's the funny thing. If I wasn't planning this whole depth year and I didn't have my guidelines about, all this stuff, I don't think I would have bought this deck this month. But I did. So that I could have it to work with it. Some of the cards, like, I don't know. I have kind of like I see this one, I think that's like a funny position for that guy to be in. So this is, I struggled with this deck. I love the backs. Love the backs. I love how big they are. Some of the cards I really like the Magician card. I'm not sure what I think about the High Priestess. It's just like one of those decks where I liked some of the cards and I didn't really like some of the other ones. I'm interested to read the Hierophant in the guidebook because that is my kind of like one of the cards that I look for in a deck to see what what it looks like. So I'm just not sure what I think about some of these, but some of them spoke to me so strongly that I decided to go ahead and try to work with the deck and see if we connected. And let me find it. So here, this card made me cry when I saw it. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get this and work with it. And this is the Death card from this deck. And it's like a grandmother, talking to a small child, I'm gonna assume it's her grandchild. I haven't read the book. And then there's like a spirit walking by, and it just reminds me, like how fleeting time is, and how important it is to share things, like share your knowledge, share time together, because it really is, precious and temporary. Which is, I mean, is a heavy thought, but it just was spoke to me so much, that depiction of the death card. That was one of the ones. The other one, there's so many good ones in this, and I'm trying to. These are coins. It's one of those boxes where the deck is split in two, so I'm working on finding a nice bag for the cards to live in, because I don't care for those boxes very much. It's such a nice box, and it's just such a shame, because I don't like to have my deck split in two, and it's so annoying to try to put it back, because then you have to like split it in half and put it all in there, and so it's such a nice box, but I can't really use it. Let's see. Okay, so this is the other one that spoke to me as a mom, I guess. I don't know. And this is the Eight of Cups, and in this card, you see a person. I'm going to assume that that is a woman, although, you can't really tell. Walking out the door, you see these like two sprites kind of have the window open, and there's a moon. And then you see in the foreground here is like the sink with the soapy water and all the dishes, and she's just like walking away from that. And I know, like, typically, like, it's venturing off, and there's a lot of other meanings for the Eight of Cups. It's not just like leaving things behind, although I think that can be definitely interpreted that way. But for me, this just talks about, it's just like this just looks so incredibly, and you can see also in here is like the iron and the clothing, and then you can see the clock, which to me is important, because it just shows like she's spending all of her time like doing these things. And not that, I mean, I believe that cleaning, can be spiritual. It can be it doesn't have to be a drag. It doesn't, but a lot of the times, like every day, like you're spending your time cleaning up after other people, and just cleaning, and it can be hard to find the meaning in that, in your own personal life. So this really speaks to me of like kind of letting those responsibilities, just stepping away from these everyday like responsibilities, not in a way that's like abdicating, like saying like, it's just the way that her head is hanging down. It just feels like she's just so overwhelmed by all this that she has to do. And you can see like the mop and the bucket. It's just like so much that she's overwhelmed, and she's gonna walk away, from it for like her own mental health. And I guess that probably says more about me than it does about the deck. Like that card was the one that really stood out to me, because I, over the last 5 years, have felt that so much. It's like so overwhelming, the amount of responsibility, not just for taking care of other people, the kids and everything, but a whole household, and the myriad of different chores and things that you have to do. And it feels like those are things that always have to be redone. Like, you never get done with the dishes. You never get done with the laundry. You're never done cleaning the floors. Like, it's like do it and do it over and do it over and do it over again. And so I feel like the whole stepping away from that is like a mental health break. And I was like, yes, okay, I am down with this card. So yeah, I'm interested to read the guidebook on this, because I've gotten this deck and I have gone through the cards, but I have not read the book yet. So that's something I'm definitely gonna be doing. But this is a deck that I just purchased, and I'm pretty excited about it, actually. I think I actually like it better in person. I watched a lot of reviews, a lot of YouTube reviews on this. I'm trying to decide, do I want it? Do I not want it? And it was the whole, I'm going to have a depth year, and I'm not going to buy that many more decks. And so let me get this in December before that starts. And that is not necessarily a healthy thing, but I'm glad that I got it, because I like it a lot better in person than I did, just watching reviews on it. So yeah, that is that. And I gotta Put it back in this crazy box. These boxes. It's such a great deck, and it has a nice guidebook, and the box is like so solid, and it's got a magnetic closure, and then you split the deck into two. Drives me crazy. Okay, so here's something that I'm really excited about, and that I started working with this month, and it is Crystal Skulls. And I have, so I bought this book by Judy Hall because I'm a big fan of her crystal books. And when I was looking for a book on working with crystal skulls, I found this. And so this is Crystal Skulls, Ancient Tools for Peace, Knowledge, and Enlightenment. And it has like a lot of basic information in here. I'm still working my way through the book, but I have been working with, let me introduce you to some of my friends. This is one of my new skulls. I only have 2 like skulls and then 2 crystal heads. And all of these I've gotten fairly recently. I've just started working with crystal skulls, but this is, I have kind of like a thing for like aliens. So this is my celestial, guardian crystal skull right here. So I'm still working with her. And then here's my 2 of my newer babies. And so it's harder to see on the camera here, but you can see a little bit of, it's a banded fluorite, and then this is a calcite, and they're just basically the same like alien type head. So those kind of hang out there. And then I have one other one that's not going to be on camera today, but I did not get him in December either. So those are my new babies that I'm working with my Crystal Skull book. And so it's just like a fun, I don't know. I was like kind of attracted to crystal skulls for a while, but I didn't know like what kind to buy, like did it matter, that kind of thing. And then I found somebody that was selling one here in town, and I was like, oh, let me try working with those. And I've just been really having a good time. So that's kind of like it's been a fun thing that I've been working with this month. Another thing that's new and kind of fun for me is I just recently got this book, The Belene Oracle. This is by Sylvie Steinbach. I got introduced to Lenormand. I found out about Sylvie Steinbach's Lenormand book, and I read her book, and I had my deck of Lenormand cards, and that was before I didn't, at the time, there could have been other books. That it was the only book on Amazon about Lenormand that I could find that it was in English. And I got my Lenormand deck, and I read her book, and I used to do Lenormand readings like every day. And then I had one of those experiences where like I had predicted an event that was like really not a great event, and that was just it was just too much for me, and I gave away her book, and I put away my Lenormand cards, and like for 5 years, about 5 years before I got back into it. Maybe it was 4 years. It was many years. It was just like too much of a thing. I don't know if anyone's ever had that happen. That's a whole nother story. But I know she does good work because her book was really helpful. So I saw that she had this one out about the secrets of the Belene Oracle. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to give that a try. And so I bought the book, and then I had to find the Oracle, which I did. I had to buy it from the Spanish publisher, but I was able to find it on Amazon. And it's the thing about this Oracle deck, there's the blue card, is it is kind of crudely drawn. So I bought it, and they didn't have pictures of the illustrations online, so I bought it, and I was like, huh. The woman's star. I mean, she just looks angry, but I was reading a little bit of the book, and it seems like this was a Oracle deck that was designed by Mage, what does she call him? Mage Edmund? Let's see. Mage Edmund, yeah, in the 1800s. And it seems like, he didn't really design this for mass production. It was just kind of something he designed for use by himself, and so it's not really like that polished as the story I read in the book. So I was like, well, okay, I'm still going to give it a try. I like trying new systems and new things like that, so I was excited to find out about this. And like I said, Sylvie Steinbach, Sylvie Steinbach. Her Lenormand book was very insightful, and it had a lot of information. So we'll see. I'm going to try this out. Like, I've just been reading through the book and kind of going through the cards. It's a pretty fat book, but it's not like jammed with like tons of small print or anything. So I'm just kind of going over it at the moment and reading like the history and about the astrological references and going over some of the cards, but I haven't done any readings yet. So see, this is why I need a depth year. So I'm just like, all right, I am starting so many things. I started a million things, but I can kind of see that the whole focusing on just a few certain things is kind of taking effect because of my really working a lot with the Navigator's Tarot. So I feel like slowly things are coming into focus, and I'm hoping that my depth year plans are going to help me with getting all this under control. But I still love learning new things, and I'm hopefully going to still have plenty of fun things to go over and learn new bits of information about things over the next year. So that is the Belling Oracle. And the last thing that I've been playing around with in December is this 2019 Your Most Magical Year Yet by Tess Whitehurst. I have some of her books. I like her work, and I found this and I thought I would give it a try. This isn't so much, it has like the days, kind of written out, but it's not as much of like a planner, which is why I'm not using this as like my main planner. But I like how it has, I don't want to show you all what I've written, but I'm still working through it. It has several pages with like, goal setting for you to do at the beginning of the year. So I've almost finished working through that. It has some coloring pages. So I decided I don't have enough time to like have an actual like coloring book and like really work on that because I'm limited on my time. But I thought, I can, and if I got this out in front of my kids and colored, they would just want to color in my book. Like, that's how that is. It's like they could have their own coloring books, and I get out mine, and it's like, we want your thing, and we want to, color in your book, and we want, so it's, I don't think that I could, I don't know if I could do that with my kids. We're still working on that, but it has a lot of good information in here too about like the new moon phases and the moon sign, which is something I'm trying to learn more of in the coming year. And then it has, like, every month has kind of like a little bit of information about that month, some magic ideas. This is a random act of kindness challenge. And these pages are in color, so it's kind of nice. And then there's a journaling prompt, and then a couple pages for journaling. And then there's, the days. But it also tells you, like underneath all of the dates, it has like what the moon's phases. So this one, for instance, on Thursday, January the 10th, it has a waxing moon in Pisces. So that's, I think that's helpful. More coloring. And then you're at February, and you get like 2 full pages of information about magic and manifestation ideas and a challenge for the month and that kind of thing. So I'm working through the goal setting pages, and I plan on reading the information about in the beginning of the month when I'm setting up like my bullet journal, and then kind of just using it to do the journaling exercises and the coloring, and not really using the planning part so much. But I still think it's going to be like a good month, ahead type of reading about the month ahead and kind of working in those energies into my planning for the upcoming month. So that is my favorite things that I've been working with for the month of December, and a lot of those are things that I hope to continue working with in January. I'm actually going to plan out what I'm working on though, and try that for a while and see if that works. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I had fun chatting with y'all, and I will talk to you again probably in the new year. It's crazy, right? Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I'll see you in 2019. Bye.